B'siyata d'shmaya, we're going to learn Pesachim Daf Kuvov. We're going to start 8 lines from the top of the Amud. Tonu Rabbanon. The pasuk says, "Zocher es yoim hashabos lekadshay." You should remember the day of Shabbos lekadshay in order to sanctify it, in order to make it kodesh. What does it mean, Zocher? How do we remember? How do we mention, or on what do we mention Shabbos? Says the Gemara, Zochreu al hayayin, that you should mention Shabbos with wine. Where do we see that in the pasuk? So Rashi brings later on that the concept of wine is a concept which is associated to shira, to sing, to song, and the differentiation between Shabbos and weekdays is the honor of Shabbos is when we say the shira of Shabbos, which is that is how we remember Shabbos. That means the zechira, remembering Shabbos, and particularly bringing out the kedusha of Shabbos, is determining and making a difference between kodesh and chol, and that is something which is to do with shira, and ein shira elo b'yayin. Zechreu al hayayin, that's how Rashbam later on in the sugya speaks about this. It says the Brisa ein li elo b'yayim, that we only know that during the day you have to make kiddush. How do we know that? Zocher es yoim hashabos. It talks about the day. Belaylo minayin. How do you know that even during the night you have to make kiddush? Talmud Leimar, says the Brisa, Zocher es yoim hashabos lekadshoy. And Rashi seems to explain from the word lekadshoy is that you have to make kiddush at the point in time where the day turns from chol to kodesh, which is when Shabbos comes in, which is Friday night, the night of Shabbos. Says the Gemara, Balaylo minayin. You're asking, Balaylo minayin, how do you know that you have to make kiddush even at night? Adarabba, ikka kiddusha balaylo hu kodesh. Dechi kodesh, tchilas yema boy lekidushe. The Gemara is saying that, the Gemara is asking that the concept of kiddush is a separation between chol and kodesh. And the separation between chol and kodesh is at the end of the Friday, which is a weekday, at the onset of Shabbos, which is Kodesh. So what's the question? Balaylo minayin. How do you know you have to make Kiddush? Also at night, Kiddush is at night. Vasu, another question, Balaylo minayin. When the Brisa asks, what's the source that you have to make Kiddush at night? Talmud Leima and the Brisa says, Zocher es yoim, brings a pasuk that's talking about, that mentions explicitly yoim, and doesn't mention Lailo. Answers the Gemara. That means, and the Gemara explains the question. Tona mehadar alaylo. The Brisa is asking for a source that you should have to make kiddush at night. V'konosiv leikrodi. Maman is bringing a pasuk that tells you have to make kiddush in the day. Answers the Gemara hachik omer. We have to turn the Brisa around. Zocher es yom Shabbos lekadshay zochreu al hayayin biknisosay. Not like the Brisa we read before, that we take it for granted that the chiyuv of kiddush is in the day, and we want to know how do you know also by night. No, it's the other way around. How do you know that you have to make kiddush when Shabbos comes in? That's the pasuk of Zocher es yom Shabbos lekadshay. That is the most basic and taken for granted way of understanding the pasuk. The question is, how do you know that you also have to make kiddush in the day? Talmud Leimar Zocher es yoim hashabos. From the fact that the pasuk adds in the word yoim, then we know that besides for the essence of kiddush, which is on Friday night, which is when Shabbos sets in, there's also a concept of kiddush in the day as well. Continues the Gemara. Bayoim mai mevorich. That means even though we just learnt now that there has to be a concept of kiddush, of some form of kiddush even in the day, but we'll remember previously on Daf Kufhei Amud Aleph that the Gemara says there that Friday night is called kiddush and Shabbos day is not really called kiddush. So you make kiddush, it's not called kiddush, and you don't make the bracha of mekadesh hashabbos in the day. So b'yoyim mai mevorich, you've just brought me a brisa that says that you have to, so to speak, be mekadesh Shabbos even in the day. Well, you don't make the bracha of mekadesh hashabbos. What do you do? Omer of Yehuda boire priagofen. You make the bracha of Hagofen, and this is where Rashbam explains that the bracha of Hagofen, which is associating to wine, and wine is ein shira ela b'yayin, you use wine as a tool to come to shira, and the concept of shira is differentiating between chayil and kodesh, and just making Hagofen, besides for it being a regular birchas hanenin, whenever you drink wine, even during the week you make Hagofen, but once you're tuning into the wine, then the wine can help you tune into the Kedusha of Shabbos as well. That's what Rav Yehuda says. You say Boyer Pri Hagofen, and that is called that Zochreyu, that you remember Shabbos, not only in the night when you make Kiddush, but also with what we call Kiddush of the day. Rav Ashi, Ikra le Mechoiza. Rav Ashi came to a place called Mechoiza. Omru Le, and the people of Mechoiza said to Rav Ashi, Likodesh lon mar Kiddusha Rabbah. Rav Ashi, it was Shabbos day, and they said, make for us Kiddusha Rabbah, the great Kiddush. And we'll soon see, but this great Kiddush really means, say the bracha that one says every time one makes Kiddush. At all different Kiddush. So whenever you make Kiddush, you always say this bracha. And what is that? We'll soon see what that is. We'll soon see it's Hagofen. Because the bracha of Mekadesh HaShabbos, you only say Friday night. The bracha of Hagofen is called Kiddusha Rabbah. Because it's always, whenever you make Kiddush, there's always a Hagofen there. Hovule, they brought him some wine to make Kiddush. Sovar, my niu Kiddusha Rabbah. They told him to make Kiddusha Rabbah, but Rav Ashi at that point wasn't completely clear what did they mean by Kiddusha Rabbah. Maybe they did mean the bracha of Kiddush that we make on Friday night. Maybe they're in this place of Mechoiza, in Shabbos day as well, besides for saying Hagofen, which is what we all do, they also say the bracha of Mekadesh HaShabbos. He wasn't sure. Omar, so he said to himself, Mechte kol habrachas kulon b'per pri Hagofen omri bereisha. He says all Kiddushes, whenever you make Kiddush, you start with Hagofen. So I'm going to start making Hagofen. So Omar Boyer Pri Hagofen. But he wasn't sure, is that where Kiddush finishes in this place of Mechoiza? Maybe he's got to make another bracha. So he was forward planning, he had a good idea. When he said his Hagofen, he was very much prolonged the end of the Boyer Pri Hagofen. He wanted to see the response of the crowd, how they were responding to the fact that he's come to the end of his Hagofen. If they were just going to stand still, as if expecting him to continue, then he'll know that in Mechoiza they make another bracha. And if he sees that as soon as he's coming towards the Hagofen, everybody is sitting down and getting ready to start drinking from the cup that they each had in front of them, he'll know that's it. Shabbos day you only make Hagofen. Chazyon, indeed he saw, Lahu Saba, there was this elder, the Gochin V'Shos, he was bending over, starting to drink or getting ready to drink, straight at the end whilst he was finishing off the bracha of Hagofen. So he knew that he doesn't need to say more than Hagofen. Korya Nafshe, and he said to himself, this is what the Pasuk means, HaChochem, a wise person, Einov Baroshei. He thinks ahead. And he says, if I want to know what to do, if I have to say another bracha, I think about that in advance, I'll prolong the way I say the end of the first bracha, and then I'll have an indication as to what to do next. Continues the Gemara, Omri b'nei Reb Chia. The b'nei Reb Chia said as follows, Mi shelo hivdil b'motzah Shabbos. If somebody did not make Havdalah on Motzah Shabbos, mavdil v'hoilech b'chol HaShabbos kulei. Then he can make Havdalah even during the week. Va'ad kamo. So obviously not the whole week. You can't make Havdalah right till Erev Shabbos the next week. No, Omer Abzera ad Revi, till Wednesday, not including Wednesday. For 3 days, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, it's still considered as the days after Shabbos. It's still, Shabbos is winding down. Whatever you're going to explain it, you can still make Havdalah. However, from Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's already not days associated to the being post previous Shabbos. These are days that are pre the next Shabbos and therefore no longer appropriate to make Havdalah. Kihad Yosef Reb Zera kamed Rav Asi, and Rav Zera was sitting in front of Rav Asi. V'omri lo Rav Asi kamed Rabbi Yechanan. Others say it was Rav Asi in front of Rabbi Yechanan u'ka'omar, and they said, Le'inyan gitin. What happens if somebody gives a get to his wife and he says this get is valid on condition that you give me X amount of money after Shabbos? Well, is Sunday called after Shabbos? Is Wednesday called after Shabbos? So what did they say? Chodesh b'Shabsa Sunday, Trey Monday, Utlasa and Tuesday, Basar Shabsa is called after Shabbos. Arba, Wednesday, Chamisha Thursday, Umayla Yoima, and Erev Shabbos Friday, Kamish Shabsa are called before Shabbos. Omer of Yaakov Bar Idi, Avaloy ala Or. That means if you make Havdalah on Motzah Shabbos, you say Boire Moire Besomim, Boire Moire Eish, sorry. And why? Because that was the time that the fire was created, a suki we learned on Daf Nun Daled Omid Aleph. But if you're going to make Havdalah any time after Sunday morning, from Sunday morning and on, then it's no longer the time that the fire was created, and therefore you cannot make the bracha of Boire Moire Ha'eish. Omer of Baroino Marav, or said in the name of Rav, we're now in Kuvav Amud Beis, Hanoitel Yodov Loye Kaddish, another halacha of Kiddush. In the event that somebody washed Natilas Yodayim before making Kiddush, then he shouldn't be the one to make Kiddush. You can silently listen to somebody else making Kiddush. But the bracha of Kiddush is going to be a hefsuk, is going to be a type of a separation between, or a distraction between the Natilas Yodayim and Hamoitzi and eating the bread. And if you do make Kiddush, you're going to have to wash again. And therefore, in the event that somebody washed his hands before Kiddush, Lo Yekaddish, he should not be the one to make Kiddush. He should listen to Kiddush from somebody else. Omer Rav Yitzchok bar Shmuel bar Marta. Akata lo noch nafshei de Rav. Rav hasn't even passed away yet. Shachachinu l'shmaitze, and you've already forgotten one of his teachings of Rav. Zimnin sagin havakoim lekamei de Rav. Many times, this is Rav Yitzchok bar Shmuel bar Marta, who's saying that many times I was in front of Rav. Zimnin, sometimes the chaviva ole rifta, he was very hungry and he wanted to eat bread. Mekadish arifta, he would make Kiddush on Friday night on bread, which means that he would say the bracha of, he would wash Natilas Yodayim, and then he would make the bracha of Natilas Yodayim, he would then make the bracha of Hayotze Hamoitzi, and the bracha of Kiddush Mekadish HaShabbos, and then he would eat the bread. So you see clearly there that the bracha of Kiddush doesn't interrupt between washing and making and eating the bread. Zimnin de Chaviva le Rifta, sometimes when he was hungry he would prefer bread, Mekadish Arifta, he would make Kiddush on the bread. Zimnin de Chaviva le Chamra, sometimes he was thirsty and preferred wine, Mekadish HaChamra, then he would make Kiddush on wine. So you see from there clearly that it's not considered a hefsek. Continues the Gemara, Omer of Huna Omar Rav. Again, it was said in the name of Rav, Toam Einoi Mekadish. If somebody in the night, Friday night, he ate something before Kiddush, he can no longer make Kiddush. He has to make Kiddush the next morning before he eats something in the morning. That was what he said in the name of Rav. Toam Einoi Mekadish. So Rav Huna said this in the name of Rav, and now Rav Chana was asking Rav Huna, Toam Mao Sheyavdil. Okay, I understand. If you taste something, if you eat something before Kiddush, you can't make Kiddush anymore. How about Havdalah? If I taste something before Havdalah, can I still make Havdalah? Or do I need to make Havdalah the following morning before eating? Omalei, Rav Huna answered back, Ani Oimer, I Rav Huna hold, Toam Mavdil. Even if he tasted something, he can make Havdalah still. Rav Asi Omar Toam Einoi Mavdil. Rav Asi argues and says that if you taste something, you can no longer make Havdalah that evening. Rabbi Yirmiyah ba'arba ikra lebe Rav Asi. Rabbi Yirmiyah, he chanced upon, he was visiting Rav Asi, and Ishtali, he forgot to make Havdalah. V'toim, Rav Yirmiyah, he ate something before Havdalah. V'toim midi. Havulei kasa, they brought him a cup of wine v'ivdil, and he made Havdalah. Omrole debisu. So the wife of Rav Asi said to Rav Asi, you Rav Asi, you're the host. Rav Yirmiyah is visiting us. Do you Rav Asi not hold? V'amar, you my husband, my master. Lo ovid hochi, you hold, as we just saw a few moments ago, Toam Einoi Mavdil. If you eat, you cannot make Havdalah. How could you let Rabbi Yirmiyah make Havdalah after he's eaten? Omer Leis, Rav Asi said to his wife, Shavke, leave him alone, Karabe Svirale, because of Yirmiyah, he was following what his Rebbe did, and his Rebbe, who was Rav, and Rav held that if Toam, you can make Havdalah. Omar of Yosef, Omar Shmuel. Rav Yosef said in the name of Shmuel, Toam Einoi Mekadish. If somebody tastes something before Kiddush, he can no longer make Kiddush. Ta'am einay mavdil. Shmuel holds, even if you taste before Havdalah, you can no longer make Havdalah. Rabbi Amar of Nachman Amar Shmuel, that was of Yosef in the name of Shmuel. However, Rabbi said in the name of Shmuel, Ta'am mekadesh, if you taste before Kiddush, you can make Kiddush. Ta'am mavdil, and if you taste before Havdalah, you can make Havdalah. Omar Rava, and Rava said now, Kuvzayin Amad Aleph, Hilchasa, the halacha is Ta'am mekadesh. If you eat before Kiddush, you can still make Kiddush. But Ta'am mavdil, and if you eat before Havdalah, you can still make Havdalah. Or Misheloi Kiddush be'erev Shabbos, somebody who didn't make Kiddush on Friday night, Mekadesh v'olich kol hayom kuloi, he can make the bracha of Kiddush during the day until Motzei Shabbos, ad Motzei Shabbos, anytime the first opportunity he gets a cup of wine, make Kiddush. Misheloi hivdil b'Motzei Shabbos, if somebody did not make Havdalah on Motzei Shabbos, Mavdil v'hoilech, he can make Havdalah kol HaShabbos kuloi, even during the week, obviously until Tuesday and not beyond, as we saw before. Continues the Gemara. This that we just saw now, that Rava said what the halacha is, and that Rava said that you can make Havdalah the whole week, which means Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. But Ameimer said it a bit differently, and with him there's going to be a difference, that you cannot make Havdalah till Tuesday, you can only make Havdalah till the end of Sunday. What did he say? He says that Pasach Lalahoshmai to the Rava B'Hailishna. He said Rava in a different way. Omar Rava Hilchasa To'am Mekadesh. If you tasted before Kiddush, you can still make Kiddush. To'am Mavdil. If you ate something before Havdalah, you can still make Havdalah. Mishaloi Kiddush Be'erev Shabbos Mekadesh V'Ilech Kolayim Kuloi. Anyone who didn't make Kiddush on Friday night can make Kiddush the entire Shabbos. Mishaloi Hivdil B'Motzei Shabbos. Somebody who didn't do Havdalah on Motzei Shabbos, Mavdil V'Ilech, you can make Havdalah Kol Hayoim Kuloi, only till the end of Sunday. Not like he said before, Kol HaShabbos Kuloi, which is Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, rather just Sunday, and after Sunday you can no longer make Havdalah. And Yimyetz Hashem, in the next year we're going to continue from here.